Hello everybody, and welcome to the next video series. I am terribly excited. Over the past couple weeks we've been getting videos out consistently, 2 a week, which is something we've never been able to do before. And even though I was thinking about trying to do some forging this time around for this next series, but I had something kind of sort of way cooler. Now, over the past year I've been doing some projects relatively in secret for my client. But I've been working on some bellows, and believe it or not, in the course of my work and travels, I managed to find this poor but original set of blacksmith's bellows. And I thought to myself, how cool would it be to A, do a little bit of a post-mortem dissection of an original bellows, check it out, and then do a series on actually recreating that same bellows. Well folks, that's exactly what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks. And we're going to be making ourselves a real pair of blacksmith bellows based on an original design. Now, this poor girl is in terrible shape. I actually found her out in the rain, and she is literally falling apart. But there is so much we can learn from this, just from the blacksmithing side of it. And there's a lot of cool things about this. So, after kind of doing an inspection, you're going to see a lot of patch jobs done on here. It's rather difficult to date these simply because the repairs were probably done in the 1920s to the 1930s, because the last time it was skinned, it was actually skinned in a pillow ticking, which was very popular at the time. And if the pattern is correct, somewhere along in there. So we know that in that time, that's when it was reskinned. Now, how long did it see service before that? That's anybody's guess. The other thing about this is this seems to actually be a manufactured piece. Now, when I say manufactured, the way that it's put together, some of the cuts in there indicate that like real machinery was used putting this together, so it's not a homemade deal. And there's a couple of corners that have been cut, or it seems like, with the construction, so this leads me to believe that this was produced in a factory setting. Now, how long ago was that? There's no telling, because by the 1880s you had the hand crank cast iron blower, which was kind of all the rage. So at that point you don't see many of these type of bellows being built, simply because there's a better piece of technology, and the hand crank is pretty much superior to something along those lines, though you do see a few of the forges continue. So if you had to kind of take a guess, I would almost want to say that this was probably manufactured before 1880 or sometime in that time frame. If not, it was a misnomer. But again, this is kind of going to be fuzzy logic. But I want to go over a couple things, and what we'll do is I want to show you the coolness and what happened with the actual field repairs to this girl. And then our next video, we're actually going to start taking some measurements and start building this girl. But first, let's go here piece by piece, because the poor thing is falling apart and we can take it apart. So the first thing that I want to talk about is going to be our top paddle. Top paddle is the solid board. There are no valves in here, usually 1 or 2 cross braces you'll see. But with this paddle, and this is one of the reasons I want to tell you that I do believe that this was actually manufactured, and again, this thing is almost falling apart. If you can see that there are some very large cracks here, and you see all this black mess on here, that is actually tar. There's a strip of metal here over one of the seams to try to hold it together. I mean, it is really been patched. So here's the first clue for me that this was actually put together in a factory setting, and not a great one. So between the seams, that's the biggest issue. So even from medieval times, when they had portable forges that were pulling in wagons, one of the worst things is the fact they were exposed to rain. So in order for this to operate, you need an airtight seal. Well, when it gets rained on and it swells, expands, and contracts, any gap in this completely causes you to lose your air volume. I mean, flat out and period. So the worst thing that you can do is get this thing wet. You've got to have a good seal here. So in the woodworking, you'll notice that with these guys, these are what they call a butt joint. Basically, that the wood has been straight edged and it's pretty much just glued together. That's not great for this situation. What you want is something that has a tongue and groove or a spline joint, which is spline joint's kind of a, the spline acts as a tongue for both sides of the board. If you're familiar with tongue and groove, same basic principle. What it does is it gives the board something to connect to, and it provides a barrier that's in there. Far better than a butt joint for this. Almost all the really nice bellows I have seen in the historical context, especially the European ones, are all going to have some type of tongue and groove or spline joint in them. That's just kind of a matter of the fact. So to find a bellows that isn't made that way is really surprising. So again, she's about to fall apart, and as this thing has cracked, they kept putting tar and metal and everything else on top of her, just made kind of a mess. But let me take this top piece off, set it to the side, and let's look at our middle pallet. So there is so much in here that tells me a lot about what was going on. So let's start off. First of all, it looks as if our paddles have been replaced at some point. Now here's the reason why. Because if you look, these leather straps, these are actually pieces of leather, most likely garment leather. There's actually stitching on the edge of these straps. So this means that this was something else before it was actually put on here. Now, normally if you had a factory setting, you'd actually have fresh material. This is recycled material. And the other thing is there's this little bump right here. And again, I'm not exactly certain of exactly what the function of this guy is, but it looks like it's a little piece of molding, and it hasn't even been saw cut. It's literally been broken and put into place. Our paddle is about 1/4 inch material. There has been some felt or maybe sheepskin that has been tacked to the front of it, and that acts as your first valve. Now, one of the other reasons I say that this was made in a factory setting is that in this hole right here, in this first cavity, you can actually see tooth marks that are spiral. So that means that a Forstner bit or some type of hole drill was used in this guy, and that's going to be factory at that time. So because you're going to have a big machine doing that. They did not have anything that could cut a hole this size that was rotary at that point. You'd have a cabinet maker saw, which is like a bow saw that can be turned, and it would have been sawn out or even chiseled out if you in a pinch. But this has clearly been worked by a machine bit. The other thing here, and this is something I really want to kind of focus on. I want to make sure I've got a good camera angle here because I want you guys to see this. So the nozzle is pretty well made. It has been shaped, especially on the bottom, but I can see some very clean cuts. But if you notice, there's this huge break right here. Well, I'm almost positive that this break was present during the functioning of the bellows. And here's how I know that. So you see this right here? At first I thought that it was a rat's nest, that something had pulled stuff in here. Then I got to looking, and this is highly unusual. There's not supposed to be something poking out the back here. The nozzle is supposed to be in place, and that's supposed to be it. This is actually chair stuffing, again from the turn of the century, helping us date it. But there has been a piece of pipe, which looks to be steel pipe in fact, that has been crammed in here. So what has happened is that while it cracked, there was no way, the air was escaping through here. So to solve that, what they did is they crammed this piece of pipe into the nozzle and then packed it full of chair stuffing. Now that means that they could not get a satisfactory repair here to seal everything up. And this is clearly a field repair. In fact, I'm kind of aghast. I really don't think that there was any self-respecting blacksmith that would have made this type of repair, because I don't think it would have been a very good one. I don't know that for a fact, but I feel it deep in my bones. Okay? So, cool things there. Pack that back in. One of the other things I want to show you that's rather interesting as well when we talk about what was repaired. Let's turn this over here. Check this out. Is this reinforcement right here. So this guy is going to be pine, looks to be a pine. You have a reinforcement strap here that runs for your hanging studs. You can see it's been shaved to accept the missing rib here. But this is a piece of hardwood. Now, it appears to have been eaten by termites. But interestingly enough, there's no termite damage to the rest of the wood that I see anywhere. So I'm almost suspicious that this piece was added later and the termites had gotten to it beforehand, because I don't see any other damage except for this one piece. So clearly this was a reinforcement Got some heavy nails over here to try to hold this stuff together. And again, you can see that there's a large crack starting to form here. And there's a lot of tar that's been tried to be poured in. So this thing was literally coming apart way before we ever got our hands on it. So let's open this girl up. Let's go this other side here. Lay her over like that. And we come to our bottom paddle, which again, you will have an offset hole. Now, normally in the Bellows I've seen, the hole is usually lined up, and one hole goes straight up. With this middle paddle, we have a hole in the center, and the paddle, the air comes in the back here. But again, we see signs of real repair. Now, this is the confusing thing. Even though that the paddle is missing, we still see that little jumper, this right there. I don't know what else it is. That little bump that causes the straps to kind of hoof over. I can see some of either the felt or the sheepskin material up under it, and I can see two nails where I think the straps would be. But let's take a closer look and let me express to you my confusion. So the paddle would have set like this. In fact, I can see the outline of the paddle here. We're all good and go. But now, here's this. Clearly, this is a later repair. You can actually see that this was most likely, this is leather work here. It's a very thin grade leather, probably some type of garment leather. The stitching is got at an angle, so this actually looks like it has been hand stitched by an awl. But your two straps are going to be here, and that's what's going to actuate this. So what the hell is this? What the hell is this piece? It appears to be a loop of some type. This is very much tacked in with two nails right here, so it was supposed to be on this angle. So again, what the hell is this doing here? I have no clue. I don't have a good answer. So guys, she's a beauty. I mean, she is an absolute beauty. It just breaks my heart to see her in such condition. But, you know, really and truly, when you look at one of these things, there's a lot more questions than there are answers. But that's the nature of what we do. But we're going to put a lot of that to the side. And we are going to have the opportunity to take some measurements and put this girl back to work, or at least some version of her. So, you know, these antiquities are amazing. You know, one thing that you never get to see when you have pieces that are, you know, magically restored or created or recreated is the fact that you don't ever really get to see them after field use. You know, field use is what tells you their story. And when you see a piece like this that has been patched and fixed, and it's amazing that, you know, even in the Bellows that I have made, I know these people's pain. I know these issues. I was performing at the Georgia Renaissance Festival one year, and my Bellows developed a crack in one of the paddles. And oh my God, you know, I've got work to do. I've got shows to do. I've got a crack in the paddle, and you know, you are desperately taking cotton or t-shirt or anything and trying to pack it in to try to keep the good seal. So I understand what these people were going through. So guys, like I said, that is the quick tour of our original Bellows, our post-mortem analysis. Again, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and next time around we're going to be taking some measurements and laying this stuff out and doing a little bit of woodwork and making ourselves our very own Bellows. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys, and as always, thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are the ones that make this possible. If we are to stay here on YouTube, please, for God's sakes, hit the like button, make a comment, even if it's blorp, because the YouTube algorithm demands it. Guys, thank you so very much. Appreciate you, and I will see you next week when we start making our super cool, awesome Bellows. You guys take care.